Hey, what's up, everybody? This is the Beige Wonder. Welcome to the first episode of My Two Cents, a weekly and bi weekly video. Basically, me going on rants about everything that's fandom, current events, weekly events, stuff that's just going on in general in the realm of geekdom. This episode is basically about, you guessed it, Spider Man in the MCU. Not being in the MCU, pretty much this is just my 2 cents on it. The truth of the matter is, if you guys know, in the early 90s, for those who don't know, in the early 90s, Marvel has been through bankruptcy. It's not the first time Marvel has been through bankruptcy or filed for Chapter 11. It's just in this particular case, when they did file for bankruptcy, they auctioned off some of their characters. Hence the reason why certain properties that they own and that they created are licensed out to other studios and other companies. And basically, it's about their toys. Spider-Man being one of the biggest toys ever. Spider-Man is basically the face of Marvel. Every time you think of Marvel, you think of Spider-Man. It's just like when you think of DC Comics, you think of Superman. That's pretty much what this is. My take on it really is that, like I said, in the early 90s, Marvel filed for bankruptcy. They gave away a lot of their characters to various companies and studios. Studios didn't really do that good of a job. They were, for what they were during that time period, okay, but they wasn't that great. Sony, quick little tidbit, Sony almost owned the rights to all of the Marvel characters. Like, Sony was going to be the people that had all of these characters, which is kind of strange and weird at the same time, but kind of ironic. Biggest property that they own right now is Spider-Man. Um, After everybody pretty much gave their opinions on it, and various sources have shared their input, we really don't know what's the end result of all of this. We just know that currently, right now, that Spider-Man is no longer part of the MCU. I personally don't really like this. I'm trying not to be biased for video purposes, but as a fan, yeah, if you're a fan, you're just not going to win. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but nobody's going to win in this, especially the fans. The fans are not going to win in this. It's going to be a very split decision. It's just like watching a classic boxing match, and instead of a TKO knockout, you get a split decision by the judges. And unfortunately, we can't judge on anything. Well, we can if we go to the box office and support the reboot, because that's pretty much what's going to happen. It's going to be the reboot. Sony has no other choice. If they get the movie and they decide to make another Spider-Man movie, they're going to have to reboot, because otherwise they're going to have to go back to Marvel. And yeah, Marvel did a very nice chess move. They took the character that they knew they couldn't get, that they issued out, and they knew they was not going to get him back. And they messed around and they said, okay, once we get this character, once they give us the thumbs up, we're going to input this character with a carbon footprint in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, where they're going to have no other choice but to deal with us going forward. Because Spider-Man is a carbon footprint now in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He's the legacy. Like, again, when you think of Marvel, you think of Spider-Man. And with the Marvel Cinematic Universe being the way how it is and the way how they set Spider-Man up, if Sony was the reboot, this would be the biggest disappointment ever. And if you're a fan, you're probably going to be a little butthurt. And if you're one of those people who feels like Spider-Man can be in a world on his own, okay, I can see that. I wouldn't. I'm not really interested in another reboot. We've had too many reboots of characters, and I, for one, I really can't get invested in another character um, being rebooted just because they don't want to play with others. Um, on both sides, again, I can see various opinions. I can see how Marvel needs to knuckle up and just say, hey, we got enough money, we got enough toys. Let's share. And I can see from Sony, like, hey, Marvel, you're being a real dick about this. You guys have all the money and you have all the toys. What do you want? Um, the truth of the matter is, guys, and with the moral of the story in all of this, is ownership. It really is ownership. With my 2 cents about it, it's ownership. If you own something, keep it. Don't. It has value. And the biggest takeaway from all of this is that Marvel issued out all their characters. It's like you. It's just like a Christmas day. It's like you had the best Christmas ever. You got all the toys that you wanted on your list, and then come to find out that you gave some of your toys away to people that you thought was your friends, and they turned out not to be your friends because now they don't want to give them back to you, even though you owned them. You created them. You gave them life. You gave them identities, for crying out loud. And now these people don't want to give them back to you. Why? Because you created the blueprint. Marvel created a blueprint where they can't fail. They created a universe where they can't fail. And where all these other studios previously was not trying to have no connectivity whatsoever, Marvel created a $1 billion studio where movies are now averaging $1 billion. A billion. Like $1 billion per movie, basically, especially the major ones. They're averaging that much. Who would really want to give those toys back? I know I wouldn't. Somebody gave me a toy and I found out how much this toy is actually worth. You think I'm going to give it back to you? No. And truth be told, in the grand scheme of things, it's about bottom line. It's about the dollar. These Disney is basically capitalism at its best. It's about the bottom line. It's about the numbers. It's about their investors, their shareholders, their 401ks, the stock market. That's what they're about. And trust me, they're making a crap ton of money. The movies is just now making money, but they really make their money off merchandise and sales. It's just like how George Lucas, if you don't know who George Lucas is, he's the guy who created Star Wars. By him creating Star Wars, he issued and gave the rights to make the movies, but he kept the licensing. Again, licensing for all the merchandise. That's the toys, the backpacks, the comic books, the books, the puzzles. Anything that you see Star Wars with his name on it that's not a movie, that's how George Lucas made his money. And that's what Marvel's after. They want that. They want the marketing and the leasing. It's just that now, since the movies are now making money, they don't want to give them up, but they want more of it as well. They're like, hey, movies is now making money. We want some of that. And Sony's like, dude, you gave us the toy. Why would we give it back to you? Like, you can easily buy another one, but we're keeping this movie rights over here. We're keeping this part over here with us. You got everything else. Like, why would you give it up? Now, as the fan in me being the very angry fan, I would really love it if Marvel bought Sony. Well, not Marvel, but Disney bought Sony. I keep saying Marvel when it's really Disney, but I would love it. But that's monopoly, and we can't have monopoly, and that's not cool at all. Because in the grand scheme of things, yeah, monopoly is not really that great of an idea for one person to have all that power and control. It's not. It's not a great thing at all. Um, but yeah, Spider-Man, MCU, not in the MCU. I hope that they work this out, but the fan in me knows that it's not going to happen. You know, like I said again, my 2 cents moral of the story. It's about ownership. You have something, if it has value, keep it. Regardless of what happens, keep it. You never know. You never know how well it will work out for you in the long run. If you say, you know what, if we go under, we go under. But I'm not going to give up one of the biggest pieces. Like, you gave up the face of your company. And the funny thing is, the sad part in all of this is that DC owns all of their stuff, and they can't, for some reason, get their act together at all. And it's very disappointing as a DC fan. But hey, Marvel, great job though. I can't get mad at Sony. I can get mad at Marvel, call it bad business, call it bad enterprising back in the day in the early 90s or the late 80s, however you choose, whatever time frame you want to go by when they were filing for bankruptcy. You know, you can blame whoever in Marvel Studios, from the editors in chiefs to the man himself, Stan Lee. You could blame a million and one people in it. But the truth of the matter is that they gave away one of their biggest profits, which was Spider-Man, who's the face of your company, and you gave him up. So somebody else now has your toy, and you show somebody how to play with this toy now. Somebody who thought they knew how to play with this toy, but now they have a better idea of how they can really play with this toy to the fullest of its capability. And that's sad that you show somebody else how to play with your toy. Like that is like the biggest stick in the mud that you could possibly do. You show somebody how to play with your toy and you own it, but you can't get it back. It's like you want to call your mother and tell her, but you can't tell her because if you tell her that you gave your toy away, you know you're not going to get any more. Oh man, damn you, Marvel. Damn you. It sucks. It sucks, but that's what it is. That's the nature of the beast, man. Own your stuff, people. If you own it, keep it. Don't give it away. If it dies, let it die with you. Because again, somebody may get it, they may not know what to do with it, but if you show them what to do, then you'll never get it back. Never. And that's just my 2 cents. I hope you guys like this video. Like I said, I can go on and on and on about it. But I'll be pretty much talking in circles and not really making too much sense, because then I'll be blabbering and blabberskites all damn day. But thank you guys so much for this, for giving me the chance and opportunity to enter your homes, your car, your joyride home, however you choose to listen or dislike or like this video. If you can, like, share, and subscribe. If not, it's all good. Like I said, I'm just giving my 2 cents. Pretty much professionals who do this for a living, they give their opinions all the time. I just wanted to make sure that I got some of my facts straight, just to make sure everybody was saying the same thing. But to give you guys the bullet points of it all, in the 90s, Marvel filed for bankruptcy. They gave out their characters. They created a cinematic universe. They got bought out by Disney. Disney basically gave them a huge backing. They gave Disney their input, and they gave Disney their return on investment tenfold. Now the people that have these movies, who own the rights to these movies, they don't want to give it back to the people that created it. They just want to keep it all for themselves. And it's all about investors and stockholders and stuff. I mean, it comes down to the money. It comes down to the almighty dollar at the end of the day. Nobody wants to give that up. Nobody wants to give up anything when it comes down to the money, people. The only people that lose in this are us fans. We're the only ones who's going to lose. And then we'll have to choose. We'll have to pick sides. You're either Team Sony or Team Marvel, or come up with the hashtag, not my Spider-Man, not my Marvel, not my DC, not my MCU, not my Joker. Don't get me started on the Joker stuff. But yeah, you guys, that's pretty much what it is. I hope you guys love this video. Thank you guys for letting me once again ramble on. If you're listening, thank you so much. I highly do appreciate it. Once again, this has been the Beige Wonder. That's my 2 cents on Spider-Man. See you guys in the funny pages.